Clash were probably the classic group produced by the punk era. Now, drummer Topper Headon is in prison in Kent, Mick Jones on guitar enjoys mixed fortunes with Big Audio Dynamite, and bassist Paul Simonon leads a new band in Los Angeles.
Breaking rocks in a hot sun, I fall for law in a low one, I fall for law in a low one.
Until recently, Joe Strummer, for many the heart and soul of the group, seemed to have disappeared off the face of the earth. The past year, however, has seen Strummer playing live again with the Pogues and move into writing film soundtracks. We found him in the West London neighbourhood where he's lived for the past 14 years.
74, this is just a rubbish tip of demolished buildings, and the local community, mostly squatters and hippies, at the time, they modelled this garden themselves.
This was all a rubbish tip?
Yeah, and they built this skateboard, and there was a bike track going around here one time. But the initiative didn't come from the council, it came from the local people. A lot of drug addicts too, but there were still people trying something, Like we had a rock band, there was a few other bands there, We had a contribution to make.
And that over there, that elevated motorway, is the Westway,
yeah.
For people who don't know, which is a sort of byword for the Clash almost.
That's right, we were called the Westway Wonders, because see those flats there? That's where Mick Jones lived, that's Wilmcote House on the 18th floor. And we used to get a fine view from his balcony down onto the Westway, There wasn't a lot to do, so we'd sort of just hang around. We had to make it better. In fact, we made something of our lives by just, necessity being the mother of invention. And glamorizing it was part of it. We wanted to make ourselves feel good, because the songs I was listening to were all about Mississippi or Alabama or Lafayette, all these exotic places, and what we had here was another world, and so, we wanted to bring some mythology to our world.
Up and down the Westway, in and out the light, a great traffic system, so bright, attempting to cover better weather, spend the night, speeding around in the yellow light.
What moment do you remember from the Clash, that whole
May the 7th, 77, the Rainbow. That was the first night that punk really broke out of the clubs, and the Rainbow at that time was, big venue, kind of super groups go there, and we played there, Clash, Jam, Subway Sect, Slits, and the audience came and filled it and trashed the place as well, but you really felt that night you're in the right place, a combination of luck and effort, in the right place, doing the right thing at the right time. And that kind of night happens once or twice in a life,
You never felt you topped that?
Not really, because from then on, we took it to America.
I'm so bold with you,
And took it to Europe, but there's nothing quite like the place it was, designed for.
That's right. Have you got any...
I gobbed on you there. Sorry, it's the memories. That thing that they talk about, chemistry between people, really does exist. And when there's four of you can make a pretty good row, we just had to set up in a room and we could bash it out pretty good. That's fairly rare and it shouldn't have been tampered with,
During the early 80s, you actually left the Clash on the eve of a tour and went to absconded, and people later found out you went to Paris.
Yeah. The truth about this,
what was that?
The truth about this is that it was the eve of a tour, okay? And the tickets weren't selling. And it was practically 3 days before the tour was due to go. So Bernie Rhodes, who with Malcolm McLaren used to light the odd scam, he came to me at night and he said, look, you've got to disappear, okay? I said, well, Bernie, if you really think I should disappear, I will. Where do you want me to disappear to? And he said, well, I don't know. Go to Austin, Texas. You know that fellow there, Joe Ely, the country singer. Go and stay with him. He said, but ring me every morning at 10 a.m. I said, okay, Bernie, I'll be seeing you. And so I took the boat train to Paris instead. So I got to Paris, and I thought it'd be a good joke if I never phoned Bernie at all. So he was going to be thinking he was going to be acting, you know, oh, where's Joe gone? And really he was going after a few weeks, where has he gone? And 6 weeks went by, and I stayed with a bloke that I knew in Paris, and I ran the Paris Marathon too. And eventually they hired a private detective to find me because they didn't know what continent I was on or anything. But he never found me. It was Cosmo Vinyl who eventually tracked me down. And one day there was a knock at the flat, and I opened the door, and there was Cosmo Vinyl, dressed head to foot like Rambo for some reason.
Is this the God's honest truth?
Yeah, that's it.
I've never read this version before.
No, I don't think I've told anyone.
And that sounds to me, to be honest, like the beginning of the end.
I suppose my ego was in rampant control, you know, like getting rid of Mick must have been an ego decision, you know, I don't hesitate to say that. But it had never been any good even when Topper left.
Then you came up with the last version of the Cut the Crap Clash, who, I must admit, and you had a Mohican. I saw them at Brixton Academy, and I've got to admit, it felt like the end. How did it feel to you?
It was the end.
The ice age is coming, the sun's zooming in, engines stopping it, the wheat is clipping, a nuclear arrow, but I have no fear, cause London is drowning. I live by the river.
Pogues is almost exactly like a punk group in the physicality of the music. You're really physically connected. There's nothing like a mandolin or a guitar or even an accordion or a drum kit or a bass, something that you can... I love the sound of humans like struggling with their instruments, you know, and you can get your personality or individuality over.
Joe Strummer first worked with the Pogues on the film Straight to Hell. Its director, Alex Cox, commissioned him to write the music for his next film, Walker. Walker is the first of 2 soundtrack releases for Strummer in 1988. And with the current Clash reissues and his planned Rock Against the Rich tour in the summer, Joe Strummer is back in business.
How did those couple of years feel? You know, it was around Live Aid time when you were... Mick Jones was doing it with Big Old Air Dynamite, and you were nowhere to be seen. And
well, really, I had to really restructure everything because, you know, I tried to flog a dead horse, you know, when the horse wouldn't get up, you know, I had to really disassemble myself and examine all the pieces and put myself back together. I really felt completely destroyed by that experience. And also, my father had died while we were on the last tour, you know, and when I came home, my mother started to sicken, and she spent, you know, all year doing chemotherapy and radiation treatments because she had a form of cancer. And I spent most of the next year visiting her, and then she died after the end of that year. And that was, you know, when you lose your parents, you know, I lost my parents, my group. You know...
you want some time off?
You want to think about things, you know, you become a different person. It was like, I had to realize that no more was I an adolescent. I'm a London parent now. You know, I used to walk around here like a lunatic, you know, I still do, but I've got kids now. I've always lived here because it's where I know, you know. I'd be lost in north, south, or east London. It'd be like going to another country for me, you know. You know, I've stripped down my operation because I want to be highly mobile, and I want to keep it like that because you can, it's what we used to call punk mobility, you know, hit and run, duck and dive. I think it's a question of being nimble in mind and accepting new things that come along and being open to new ideas. That's where I want to get to, you know, and stay at that level.